Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting, the Board of Selectmen, to order. It's Monday, September 15th, 2014. It is now 8:30. First order of business would be the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to ask Selectman McKelney to lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Gary. We have one item to add to the agenda. It's a request for a sign on the green. It should be item 11.7. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item, item 2, public forum limited to 3 minutes regarding any agenda item. Anybody wishing to address the board on any agenda item? Seeing none, we'll move along. Item 3, approval of the minutes of the September 2nd, 2014 regular minutes. Do we have a motion?
Move we accept.
Second.
Any additions or corrections to the minutes of September 2nd, 2014 regular meeting? No. Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of the approval?
Aye.
Okay. Motion is made, second, and voted upon. Thank you. Item 4, Golf Course Commission, Chairman Rob Pascal. Discuss and take possible action on a contract to perform work on the golf course tees. Morning, Rob.
Good morning, how are you?
Good. I see you're joined by the superintendent, Ted Tighe. Morning, Ted.
Good morning.
What would you like to present to us?
Okay, so as you're probably aware, for the 2014-15 budget, the Guilford Lakes Golf Course has $29,850 budgeted to redo some of the tee boxes that are at the golf course. And the commission met over the last few months, and we agreed that we would first start working on the 5th, 6th, and 8th tee boxes. Reason being, they were not constructed correctly in the first time we went through them, and they begin to crown and lose their shape. So over the last few weeks, we have received 4 estimates to do work on these, and last week on Tuesday, the Golf Course Commission met to review and discuss the estimates. And we voted unanimously to recommend to the Board of Selectmen today to approve the work to be performed by Harborview Excavation with the estimate of $18,122.40.
How many other tees are you looking to do? Because I know you had said you budget around 30 grand. So how many other tees will you be able to do? Or was this only
With this
intended
budget,
to-
this is just for this one budget. For
Oh,
this
okay.
year, we think what we can do is get 3 tees done with the amount that's budgeted for this year.
Okay. And is your goal to do them all, or is that?
No, we don't need all of them to be done. We think that there's probably 5 total in the course that need to be redone, and we do have, I believe that there's be some money next year
Yeah.
to do the other 2.
Okay,
So this year,
got
we're
it.
going to start with these first 3.
Okay.
I understand that Harborview's the lowest bid. My question is A&W being a Guilford town business, we do sometimes consider that as a difference. I understand it's
Yeah.
still even with 10%, it's very close, but it's not there.
Yeah.
Does Harborview have any particular expertise in golf courses?
Yeah, I mean, and just to clarify, they were not the lowest bid that when they first came into Harborview. And see.
Yeah, what's the number, you gave a number that's different from
Okay, all
what we
right.
were
So,
passed out.
yep, that 18,122, which I first mentioned, was last week actually what the first bid that we'd gotten in from Harborview. And as a commission, we decided that's what we wanted to use them because they do have the expertise. They have the most experience working in golf courses specifically. After we met, I went back to Harborview and discussed price with them and negotiated them to the price that you have now. And I didn't realize that you were giving that the $17,048.48.
You only did the negotiating with Harborview because of their expertise?
Yes, correct. Yeah, they had, so the reason that we decided that we wanted to work with Harborview is that they have the most experience working on a golf course. They've done work for us previously there that has worked out well. So we went back and negotiated the price with them.
Is that appropriate in a bid process?
I don't think so.
Maybe it was more of a scope review. That brought that number, I don't know.
Am I correct, it wasn't a bidding process, it was just,
You submitted written estimates?
right, submitted estimates on the work?
So what does that mean, Pam? It means that,
I think that you should table it,
Okay.
and I have to find out.
let you review
more.
it. All right, then I'll move to table and have
Second.
legal review.
Okay.
Can I just ask,
Yeah.
I'll agree with that. I just, an additional question. Did you put out some sort of a spec? Because I'm looking at these and everybody seems to have different measurements, even, everybody seems to have different square footage and
The
so
way it
on.
works is the department head, in a situation where it's below the bid threshold and they need to get written estimates, they control that. They have a spec, that's their area expertise. They solicit estimates. In this case, I want to just double check what occurred after they received the written estimates. If it was a scope, if they needed to kind of clarify scope, and that's why the price changed slightly, that's really all right. But if they were bargaining after submitting written estimates, we just need to look at that.
I mean, the other question I had, I just compared the A&W and the Harbor View, and they have different square footages. So
I don't know if I can speak.
Yes, they were all,
They're-
specified to all of the correct, like, basically the eighth tee was 187 by 22. There were all marks on all the tees to the appropriate size to where we wanted everything to be. So all the contractors were all told the same amount of square footage on every tee.
So maybe-
But one came back at 150 by 26.
So Gary, maybe this is why it gotta be reviewed.
Yeah, no, I understand. I wanted to get that into the process too, that they were all looking at the same thing. And you said they
They
were,
were.
but they came back with different answers, which is sort of strange.
I mean, maybe, in certain situations, you're requesting kind of their analysis of the job. So I could see that one might have a different square footage idea than the other.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
That, I don't have an issue with.
I just like that question looked at as well.
If I am correct, a motion to table is not debatable. So I'll call for vote to table, but I just want to make one comment after the vote. So all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, okay. One comment I will make, and I have probably the most history with the golf course as far as construction of it, because at that time I was on the Board of Finance. It's important to get someone who is familiar with building golf courses. That's how we got in trouble. How many years ago, Carl? 12, 15 years ago, Teddy? Is
Yeah.
that it?
Well, that's why we're doing
Yeah.
this now.
That's why we're doing it now.
Right.
We hired a contractor, I think it was Vanalic. I'll say the word.
Correct.
Because I don't care if they sue us or not, they did a terrible job. And we had to correct their mistakes. They never built a golf course, and that's why we're in the mess we're in now.
Correct.
All right, so I want to make sure that this board and the commission knows that we need experienced contractors in golf course construction. Okay, and I mean, if somebody within these organizations has personnel that knows how to build a golf course, that's fine, I have no problem with it. But we have to be very careful when we go out and hire people. Building a golf course is not like landscaping your lawn. It's totally different. So, that's all I'll say
No,
about
I
that.
don't disagree with that. I just
Okay.
think
That
the
speaks to what you were
inconsistency-
saying
Yeah.
about specs.
Yeah, the inconsistencies in
Yeah.
the bid process is why we tabled it, not
Okay.
that question.
And to the commission, I know that you gentlemen are under the gun because it's seasonal and you've got to get going quickly to get play ready for next year because you've been pressured by particularly the Board of Finance to get revenue up. So if you need a special meeting to get these estimates or bids, I'm not going to call them bids because we're not bids,
Right.
approved, certainly we're going to accommodate you.
Okay,
Give
appreciate
a
that.
special meeting. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. So just contact me immediately on that one. Item 5, Finance Director, I see her on the phone out there.
Stepped out,
Okay. Here she comes. Receive monthly report from the Finance Director, 5.1.
This is yours, Joe, phone.
Oh, what the hell, I get this?
Morning, Sheila.
Morning.
There were a couple of things on the back.
Yeah, Tracy did two-sided. She-
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Which is fine.
She tried to save paper and she
That's
got us all
fine.
confused.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Sheila.
I had made a change to revenue that I believe only the Selectmen may have with him because I did not print it. You have it? I know you do.
I have it.
Good.
Yeah. I don't have it on my iPad, I have it in print.
Okay,
copy.
okay, good.
Yeah.
The change is actually an important one because the prepaid taxes that we collected in June, usually they get booked to a balance sheet account at the end of the year, and then we have to move it over into the revenue at the beginning of the year. And it didn't show up on the report, and we noticed it, and then we fixed it. So it makes a difference in your tax collection. So do you have the number for that? Because, thank you so much. So it does make a change. As far as the revenue that we've collected as of August 31st for the town, we've now collected 52.5% of our budget, as opposed to the 49.1% on your report.
I got it, go ahead.
And the tax collections are at 53.5% collected. Versus last year was 52.3 at the same time, so we are slightly ahead of where we were last year in tax collections at the same time. And overall, the 52.5% that we've collected at the end of this year, we were at 49.1% last year. I'll get you copies, I'll email them to you. Everything else looks like it's right on track with where it was last year. Don't let the Selectmen's numbers get you nervous. It's a tiny number, still fine. Don't forget that ambulance and youth and family basically are at 1 month instead of 2, so they should only be at 8.3% collected.
And they're right on track.
Youth and family is
Yeah.
actually ahead.
Yeah.
And fire is ahead as well for the 1 month. So revenue looks good. Questions? Expenditures. Expenditures, we've obligated 33.5% of our budget at the end of August as compared to last August, 30%. It's strictly just timing at this point in the year. It's nothing to be concerned about. We have a little bit more in blanket encumbrances than we did last year, and I think that's what's driving the percentage.
It's primarily equipment and public works, which is approved, right? Is that the encumbrance, is that what we've approved for new equipment?
The encumbrances are blankets, and they're mostly for repairs and maintenance. Actually, the capital is less than it was last year, and that's where the equipment for public works is. It's 36% versus 44%. I think that the biggest number that's driving it is the debt service, and that's totally scheduled. In other words, we're going to be exactly on target for our budget, and we made a principal payment in August this year, and we didn't have one, or we had a smaller one last year. And that's a big number, the 1.945 million. So that's what's driving the bottom line, but that is completely timing. And then engineering and public works is up because of the blanket encumbrance. It's not really the equipment, it's the repairs, the blankets for repairs and maintenance.
Right.
We have 1 month of legal bills in at this point.
That's right. Any questions on expenditures? Okay.
Okay. I have, I've worked on some Blue Cross numbers. It's tricky this year because of some of the changes that we've made to try to compare it to previous years and to do, good projections. So I'll pass these out. 2, 3, 4, 5. I also, in addition to what you're seeing, I did some other numbers that I'm not sure if I want to give to you now or wait until next month. Let's just talk about the report for a minute, though. So last month, the claims were really low. They were 691,000. And I knew that it was going to be a timing issue, that we were going to see a big number in August, which we did, 1.7 million.
What up?
The two of those averaged out, though, is more than what we were projecting for the year. So I'm still not using my annualized projection because I'm not comfortable with it. So the number that you see for the claims projection in yellow, the 1,089,000, is basically Anthem's number in their renewal that they gave us after we committed to the lower stop loss. So I'm going to stick with that number at least for another month. And what it shows is that we will have a projected deficit of $15,000, which is very little in a $14 million budget. So I just got the catastrophic claims report this morning. And I thought that it was going to show a lot more people that were at 50% of the stop loss, which is now, the stop loss is 150. So I expected to see a lot of claims at 75,000, and there's only 2. So it kind of perplexes me as far as, making sense of the projection. So I really can't make any kind of a better projection now than what I have here. I thought I would see a lot more.
You said there were only 2 now, but you were expecting a lot. What number would be a lot?
Well, I expected to see a more claims that were reaching $75,000.
Are we talking 10,
Why, because of
5?
previous losses?
Well, because the 50% is now lower than in the past. It was 50% of 225,000. It was 112. Now it's only 75,000. So I expected to see more that were, especially from last year, since we had so many and we discussed claims that were continuing.
Right. That's what I mean, yeah. But they're not,
I haven't seen them yet. But we had a big month, so they had to be new claims, a lot of new claims, smaller, I think we're gonna see them, but I expected to see them this month with a claim month of $1.7 million. So I'm not quite sure how to interpret that at this
Yeah.
point, so we'll see.
Keep your fingers crossed and hope that our employees and their families are healthier than we expected them to be.
Except with $1.7 million of claims, I think I should have
Right.
seen more.
unless that's a
that were
lot of people
approved.
getting, how much of it was the board side being off, people getting things done. That's the whole, we always see a spike in the summer because, from the,
Surgeries.
60% of the employees are off for those periods of time. So they're getting sort of things done. If you have to have a surgery or carpal tunnel, whatever it might be, that's the time to do it. And it's not, I'm not saying it's not major, but it's not as major as life-threatening illnesses. That's what I mean. Remember, we talked about that before.
Yeah. Well,
So
one-
maybe we'll be able to see when September number comes in.
I think we need to see September. One thing that was interesting is that the IBNR, which is the incurred but not recorded claims, every year that goes up. I got the number actually and it's recorded, and I was concerned that we, in June, we wanted to break even. So we did that. We contributed an extra $395,000. The board contributed an extra $250,000. And actually, we came out with a surplus fund balance of $5,200 at June 30th. But I lost my train of thought, actually, now what I was going to tell you. I lost my train of
That's
thought.
okay.
So.
So, just generally, we'll have a much better view in September.
I think I'll leave it at that. Yes. I think so. another set of reports that I think I'm gonna hold off on till Joe and I actually review it. It's a lot of numbers and it gets confusing because you expect to see trends go a certain way and they don't necessarily. So I think we need to discuss it more and see if we can make more sense of the numbers.
Okay. I have a question. There was an article about FEMA monies being reimbursed. There's no indication that's going to impact us. And there's an article in the Register over the weekend about FEMA overfunding.
No, I haven't.
We're not giving anything back.
No, I just want to get alert. I mean, the article was very minimal. It wasn't,
No.
it just
No.
talked about the giving the state monies, and I just thought it's something, not that, I mean, I know we've been doing this a number of years and everything. I just was concerned when I saw that, that's all.
No.
I just remembered what I was gonna tell you, just very quickly on the IBNR. And it has to do with timing. The IBNR goes up every year, usually, because our claims go up. Well, this year, it went down by $2,000. It went from $864,000 to $862. So I was able to actually have that bigger little surplus, $5,000. That's a timing issue. What that's saying is that claims are processing faster.
Oh, okay.
Because if our average claim is, say, $1.2 million in a month, and 862 is our RBNR, those claims are processing faster than 30 days.
That's good.
Yeah, and the thing I will say is, with the change in insurance consultant, I'm talking about medical
Yeah.
insurance consultant, they're a lot more active than our prior consultant, and on top of our situation.
Okay.
And I've been working very, very closely with Sheila and with Mitch. So we feel a lot more comfortable about the reporting now. Okay. Okay. Anything else you want to add on that?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. Any other questions on this? Okay. Anything else you want to bring to our attention?
No, I think that's it for now.
Okay, good.
I have finished the capital reports. I will send them to you. Time consuming because I have to set them all up again for the new year. But I will send them out. I'll have them for the Board of Finance tonight, and you'll get a copy by email.
Okay. 5.2, discuss and take possible action on the VFW grant. Now, this is not a grant that really is coming to the town, but the town is assisting the VFW with the processing and the handling of the grant. So you want to pick it up from there?
Yes, this is very similar to the grants that we handled for the daycare center that was built in the Youth and Family Services several years ago. It's handled through DSS, so I understand the process. The process is very, there's certain steps that you have to take, and they're very particular about their steps. And I'm helping the VFW with the grant. The grant comes as the grant is awarded to us. It will be awarded to us, and then we'll pass the funds through to the VFW. We don't have a contract with the state yet. So we actually have to, I thought we would be able to get something on the agenda today so you can sign at least a contract or an agreement to authorize the first selectman to execute a contract, but we're not even at that stage yet. The DSS is requesting all of the basics that were submitted to the state for the application. So we're basically at the application process here still. So I just wanted to give you just a brief update on that. It's going to be a while. They're very short-staffed, so by the time I get information from the VFW to the state, it's going to take them time to draw up a contract and have it reviewed.
When are they looking to do construction?
Well, timing?
VFW, yeah, when are they? You don't know? Okay.
Well, we're going into the winter now, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure of how, it may
Yeah,
not
that's
be
right.
until the spring. But
Yeah, the state is extremely backed up. I think they're, short of personnel up there.
they are very short, at least at DSS, they were very concerned that there was 1 or 2 people in the office and they had 30 grants they were working on.
So,
So we don't have a contract yet. We will get a contract shortly, hopefully.
but the town is going to have to sign the contract, and you're going to have to authorize me to
Yeah.
sign the contract. That's why it's coming through this board, similar to the covenant and the kiosk that you had me sign. Yeah. Okay. So Sheila's just providing us with an update on that. Yeah. Gary?
Generically, we'll certainly support it. We have enough meetings sounds like we have enough meetings to get that in to authorize
That's
you to
right.
do it.
And again, if we need a special meeting, we'll get it through. Okay, thank you. Bye.
DSS.
social services.
Okay. Thank you, Sheila. Item 6, Board of Education Director of Operations and Facilities, Cliff Curtin. Here he is. Morning, Cliff. Pursuant to Article 10 of the Town Purchasing Policy, requests approval of a change order totaling $127,390 for bid 29-1314, Adams School Classroom Renovation Security Upgrades. Original bid award total was $2,267,685.
Morning.
Morning.
So keep in mind, we have multiple change order proposals that produce a single change order. So, and the 127,000 is actually 2 change orders, it's not just one. It's actually 2 different change order, number 1 and number 2 make that total sum. So the first one, change order we had was for $67,929, and then the second one we had was for $59,461. So out of the 2 of those, obviously they're both for Adams, and as we all know here, Adams is a rather old school, and it produces some interesting things when we get into construction. So we can only do so much destructive testing prior to school getting out and during the design phase, so we do find things as we go through construction, such as more asbestos that's unexpected, whether it's on pipes or underneath the second layer of flooring, something of that nature, which in this case several change orders came out of that. We had to make some changes in design, so we added a couple new door frames and doors from one classroom to another in order to meet updated codes for egress reasons. We also did some electrical rewiring and some relocation of the battery packs for our fire alarm system. And lastly, there was some upgrades to some additional frames, and we won't go into details to what the upgrades are,
Yeah.
but as we know, there are upgrades to various pieces of frames in there. So that really encompasses the change orders that are all within these 2, as far as the individual, what happened in the school. And a lot of it is asbestos, unfortunately. As far as future stuff coming up, obviously, we know the schools did open on time, and we do have a couple more change orders that are very small. Since the bulk of the work has been completed prior to school opening, we don't expect any major change orders to come at this point. We have change order 3 that's coming down the pike for $1,600, so it gives you just a caliber of where we're at now in the project. So,
Okay.
I'll move that we approve change orders in the amount of $127,390 for bid number 29-1314, Adams School Classroom Renovation and Security Upgrades.
Do I have a second? Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Thank you.
very good.
Item 7, Town Planner George Kroll. 7.1, discuss and take possible action on the creation of a committee to prepare a housing for economic growth plan. Good morning, George.
Do you all have a copy of the September 8th memo? Okay. You may recall that we received a grant from the state in the amount of $20,000 to prepare a housing for economic growth plan. Housing for economic growth is the state's new terminology for what we used to call affordable housing. And the grant that we received and the work program that we developed envisioned that the Board of Selectmen create what we call a project team in the grant. Study committee would be another term that would be appropriate to that. The study committee would be responsible for implementing the creation of the plan under the auspices of the Board of Selectmen and the Planning and Zoning Commission. I think you also probably received a copy of the scope of work, which describes what we're supposed to do pursuant to this grant. So my hope is that you will create such a committee. I'm not sure exactly what the process will be for appointing the members. Maybe you authorize the first selectman to appoint them, or maybe he collects the names and comes back with a recommendation to you. A number of people have already expressed interest in this to me, and I'd be happy to forward those names to Joe if that's the way you want to proceed with this. I've made some suggestions for types of membership that would be appropriate to this committee. The grant does require that we have a representative from planning and zoning on the committee, and the grant envisions, the plan envisions that once it's completed, we would create some new zoning provisions to encourage the development of housing for economic growth. So I think at this point, I'm just asking the board to authorize perhaps Joe and I to work on coming up with some names and then coming back to you with a slate of candidates in the near future.
Now, you're, from the list here, it looks like you're suggesting at least 8.
I hadn't really thought of the number, but
But
something
the
in
titles,
that range, you know. I don't think there's any magic to any specific number, but
No, I have no problem with this at all, obviously. I would also recommend or would enlist the support of the other 4 selectmen to forward names.
absolutely.
And then we could, all take a look at it.
Right.
All the names and come up with candidates, and then we could all vote on them. I mean, I want it to be a collective decision.
Right,
Certainly
makes sense.
not just my decision. Okay.
Another category of potential members is the disability type organization, SARA, similar organizations. I know they've expressed an interest in this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think keeping the committee membership somewhat reasonable makes for a more effective process. Once that committee is then appointed, then we'll draft the scope of work and solicit proposals from qualified consultants to do the work.
I think this is good, George. Will you facilitate and oversee the group? Is that the
Yes.
plan?
Okay. Okay. Then I will ask the board to forward names to myself and/or George within the next couple of weeks. Be happy to receive those names.
Okay,
And
good.
George and I will work on them. And anyone else on this board that wants to work with George and I is welcome to do so. Okay? Carl?
Should we use the same model that we do for other boards and commissions and ask that anyone interested should submit a letter and maybe a
Sure.
bio?
A letter and a bio.
Then we're
And this would be obviously apolitical. You don't have to go through the town committees at all.
Right.
Just come to the selectman's office.
Right.
So maybe if you follow this formula, Joe, then the housing authority would recommend somebody, the foundation would recommend somebody. Is that really how you envision it? And there's some that are,
Exactly.
and maybe, I looked here, George, the only thing I thought of is maybe realtor and a developer, because they have different roles, because I like
Sure.
what you have here, but by getting both in, maybe you get more buy-in and more relationships and contacts.
Sure.
Right.
That's the only thing I'm thinking, because that's, at the end of the day, you can put all the zoning you want, if we can't get somebody in to do it,
Right.
that's the hope, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And this is a 6-month, this is anticipated to be a 6-month committee.
That sounds about right.
All right.
I can't, I didn't add up all the numbers. Is that what we said in the
So the
grant?
project should be
Yeah,
completed
that
in
sounds
less than
about right.
6 months, so it does sunset.
The study, yes.
And this is only for the study?
Right. I mean, ideally, at the end of the study, we'll have some new zoning that will be recommended, and pursuant to what Cindy just said, maybe we'll have some developers interested in some specific projects. That would be even
Okay.
better.
That's the hope. So-
Do we have a timeline on this, George?
On the grant itself?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that, actually. That's a good question. I'd have to look
Okay.
look into that. I'm sure it's, I'm sure it's in the several year range.
Okay.
So I think we're okay there. But I'll double check that.
Because I would say,
But I think now's the time to start this up in the fall and try to get it
yeah,
done during the winter.
I'm just thinking, if we can get names by the end of the month, it'd be great. It gives us a couple of weeks.
Okay, excellent.
George, are you envisioning this, because you know I'm doing work with the Housing Authority, but are you envisioning this to be similar that once the zoning comes in and a developer is interested, that the Housing Authority work with them? Is that sort of the goal?
Yeah, that's a possibility, or other developers.
Because I know they're sort of
We have some
reinvigorating
nonprofit
that.
developers
Yeah.
who do affordable housing in Guilford. They're interested in this too, so there's there's a lot of interest.
Okay. Then I'll move that we create a committee to prepare a housing for economic growth plan with the recommendations presented by our town planner, George Crawl, with possibility of looking at a realtor and a developer in here, and defer to the first selectman to solicit the appropriate members of the committee and invite the public to apply.
Second. Okay,
So,
that's fine, I just that, I'm asking that anyone interested apply by the end of the month.
oh,
Okay.
by September 30th.
Yeah, all right? To the selectman's office.
Good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Joe. Okay. All right. Number 8, environmental planner, Kevin McGee, consider and take possible action on a contractor for tree removal work for Goose Lane and Half Mile Road. Good morning, Kevin.
Morning. There are a number dead and dying in the process in between trees on Half Mile Road and on Goose Lane, between the intersection of Tanner Marsh and Half Mile Road. Total up about 15 trees that need work. Of those, about 13 required full removal, and had another one with an option for full removal depending on the prices for that full removal and the total project cost. I decided to go with the full removal of the option. The total cost from my lowest estimate from A&L Tree Experts is $13,900. The price range from pretty much the $13,000 to a little over $17,000 between 4 contractors, which gave me prices back. I sent proposals to about 6 tree contractors in the area. So I'm looking for approval of the cost estimate from A&L Tree Experts for $13,900.
For the purposes of discussion, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Set motion's made and seconded. Okay.
Pretty straightforward. And you've worked today in Albert.
I worked with them. Yep, they're one of our primary contractors in town. They said they can do the work in within the period of time I asked for, which is within 30 days. 2 of these trees within the past 2 months have lost large leaders into the roadway, so
So we gotta get moving on.
something we have to, yeah, we have to move on.
Okay. Particularly, we're heading into a season where we're gonna get more winds and,
Yep.
I'm not gonna
Who
say
knows?
the S word. No.
But anything is possible. Like I said, even in dry weather now, these trees are getting so brittle that they just are
Yeah.
losing that fiber connection, which we're just letting them fall even on a nice sunny day. So
Okay.
it's something that needs to take care of. As part of it, I'll be hiring, contacting the police department to hire officers to assist with traffic.
Okay. So we have to provide our own traffic.
I wrote it that way to kind of keep the bids level playing
Okay.
field there.
Okay. All right. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Okay. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you, Kevin.
Kevin, remind us what your budget for this is for the year?
I think this year is a $55,000 budget, so
Yeah.
this is taking like a third of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Quarter.
Item 9, Town Engineer Jim Portley, 9.1, Long Hill Road reconstruction. Discuss and take possible action authorizing Hacks Engineers to proceed with the final design of the Long Hill Road reconstruction per letter from DOT dated September 5th, 2014. Good morning, James.
Good morning. The letter, I think, from the board, DOT is pretty self-explanatory. They finally have gone through all the possible reviews anybody can review, and now are giving us the authorization to proceed. They've pretty much have said, now let's go. So we will have to have these plans and specs ready to bid in early part of 2015. A little bit slower than I had thought, but that's the way we are today. So I would ask the Board of Selectmen to vote to authorize Hacks to proceed with the final design. Then I will meet with them this week and set up a schedule, and I'll report back to you at the next meeting, just to let you know where we go.
Can we vote on both of these at once?
You can. The other issue is
Sure we can.
the Long Hill Road reconstruction, the right-of-way mapping. Typically, when you do a design, they don't require, or we don't require, that the right-of-way maps be set to A2 standards. A2 is a survey standard of accuracy that is been chosen by the state and by the professional land surveyors as a degree of accuracy for the actual mapping of a piece of property. In this case, because we wanted to save the year time it would take to go through the DOT right-of-way division and the $100,000 in cost associated with that, I authorized them to proceed with this A2 survey. So, and then subsequent to that, we had the public hearing, and these maps now, if we put them on file, become the right-of-way for Long Hill Road to the standards that are above question. We've also met with every property owner, and they've all agreed to give rights of way at no compensation. So we're moved that part of the project along significantly, and I think that helps us right now where we are in terms of getting the authorization from DOT to proceed, but it also makes it clearer for the future that's how we want to proceed. So I would ask that the Board of Selectmen approve the authorization for the extra work spelled out in Hack's letter of July 22, 2014 for $10,200.
I would move that we approve the authorization of Hacks to proceed with final design and to create the right-of-way maps to A2 accuracy standards for filing.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Don't forget, we're voting on A and B now. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, James, 9.2.
This is for the purchase of plow frames for the three international trucks we purchased, part of last year's capital. One was purchased through the regular budget, and the other two were purchased through the bonding issue. But we have three trucks that are going to be ready for us to plow snow this year. We didn't have enough money in the bond issue for the plow frames. We're going to reuse the existing plows. They're still all in good condition. So we do need authorization to purchase the plow frames that would be mounted on those trucks. Each one, we have a quote was for $6,242. That was received back when the first truck was ready. That was sometime in July 8th, as a matter of fact. Then the other two have become online and ready to do it. So we contacted the vendors. Nobody was willing to submit another quote for three as opposed to one, so we just have submitted the purchase for it. Three times the $6,242 were $18,726, which we would take out of operation equipment. So I would recommend the Board of Selectmen approve the purchase of the plow frames.
And this was approved by the Public Works Commission.
It was approved by, Thursday night was approved by the Public Works Commission,
Okay.
yes.
I would move that we approve the plow frames as presented in your memo dated September 12th.
Second.
Any discussion?
In the amount of $18,726.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, 9.3, consider to take possible action to approve it. We did that, and did we?
We have a memo on a Ford pickup.
No, that was tabled.
That was, it was tabled by the Public Works Commission. They want to go out to bid. We were trying to get the truck off a state bid, and there was a discussion about the equipment that would be actually put on that truck. So what we're gonna do is go out and get a separate bid for that,
Okay.
for that truck.
So just to be clear, 9.2 was tabled, and we just voted on 9.3. Right. Okay, thank you, James.
All right. I have one question.
Yes, sir.
When you go down the end of Old Quarry Road, the turnaround,
Yes.
is that town property?
No, it's the property of the Old Quarry Association.
Okay,
But
so,
they've given us permission to, because of the design, to construct a drainage area there. We had to pitch all the water to the center. We couldn't disperse it into the salt marsh because DEP thought it might change the salinity of Long Island Sound. So we pitched it to the middle, and we're putting in a catch basin, and it's going to work fine.
Yeah.
It'll all be regrassed.
Flowing in Long Island Sound.
And as long as we haven't altered.
Gary, don't even go there. Please don't go there.
Thank you for asking that question. So Long Island Sound is.
Thank you, James.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You want to touch base with Mitch later on another issue?
Sure.
Okay. All right, point 10, appointments and resignations, 10.1, act on appointment of the Green Committee members as a result of the recently adopted ordinance. Pam, you just want to remind us of that why we have to reappoint everybody? Real quickly?
Yes, the Green Committee, working with Stephen Page, was proposed to us that they wanted to have 9 members and to have representatives from different organizations, as well as some other changes. So we, the Green Committee was never kind of put forth in our ordinances, and so we did that recently. You all did it on Chapter 9. When we did some revisions, and in order to keep a staggered terms, as well as to make the Green Committee consistent with the town charter for 4-year terms, Tracy worked with Stephen Page on the best way to stagger those terms, and that's really what's before you.
Okay. All right. And since we've went through the 30-day period of the ordinance sitting in the clerk's office, there has been no request for reconsideration of it.
Correct.
It's now
It's now effective.
It's part of our town code.
Right, and so
And
we're just
all set.
cleaning up, making sure, we got all the terms corrected and
Right.
staggered. And
Does everybody have in front of them the list of the 9 members and the groups they represent? Okay, so seeing that, I'll accept a motion to is it reappoint or appoint? What is the proper term on this one?
Confirm.
Confirm, thank you, Gary.
Confirm the membership.
Okay.
As presented.
Would you make that motion?
I will make a motion to
Okay.
confirm the membership as presented.
Okay,
Second.
there's a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Pam.
Although I would note that Stephen Page, who put this together, put himself in for the shortest term.
Okay, thank you. 10.2, act on the resignation from Stan Solsky. Solarski, thank you, from the Energy Task Force. Do I have a
So
motion? Is there a second? And that's with regrets. All those in favor?
Aye.
And
Yep.
again, if anybody wants to serve on the Energy Task Force, I think this brings them down to a mere quorum. They need all members to attend to have a quorum, so.
I think I might have a young gentleman who's interested, okay?
Okay.
But that's not to say we need more.
Right.
Okay. We have a request for
Did we
use of...
vote on that?
Yes, we did.
Yes.
All those in, we did vote. Item 11, request for the use of town property, 11.1 through 11.7, because we added at the beginning of the meeting.
There's also, while the meeting was going on, there's another sign request from Madison Lions Club for their Oktoberfest. And it's September 27th, so if you want to add that to your...
It's up to the board if they want
So
to add
I'll
it.
move we add it to the agenda. No.
Sure.
All right, is that a second?
Second.
Okay.
That's for a sign only, and
Fine.
Sign only, that's 11.8.
that we're within our quota of signs.
Okay.
It should be okay.
Okay, so now we have 11.1 to 11.8. Okay.
I would make a motion that we approve the 5 requests for signs, the 3 uses for the green, and the 1 use for the recycling center as presented in the agenda as amended, 11-1 through 11-8.
That's pretty good. You got that all.
Second.
Second, that's pretty good. You got that all straightened out. Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, under number 12, correspondence, so we have 2, one from the monthly building officials report, and 12-2, the Public Works Department monthly report. Comments, questions? Jim? Item 13, committee reports. I guess the only reminder is about Carl, 375.
The parade on Saturday, bigger and better than ever. We got a lot more musical groups, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people participating. So we invite everyone to come to the parade.
Just to
10 o'clock.
remind everybody that to go down to the fairground, because that's where the muster is going to be, right?
Right.
After.
Immediately
parade.
following the parade, there will be a drum corps muster on the fairgrounds.
Nothing else on committee reports. I don't have any old business or any new business to bring before the board. Okay. Public forum, I don't see anybody wishing to address the board. The only item that should we need a special meeting in regard to the golf course, you just let Tracy know your schedules for the rest of the week.
Okay.
When would be the best time we can all get together? Just let her know, okay? Press. Okay. Seeing no other further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good week.
Oh, what newspaper? Register.
Courier. Gary, it's the Courier. Oh. Yes.
Are you going to that?
No, that's the
I'm
day
going.
Camera off?